First things first, if you haven't seen the video announcing the delay to Breath of the Wild sequel, go ahead and watch that real quick. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere in the meantime. Okay, assuming you're all caught up now, here's the deal. Breath of the Wild 2 won't be here until spring of 2023, but in the meantime, we've got another whole 5 seconds of the game to analyze, and lo and behold, this tidbit confirms, denies, and informs us on a number of things the theorizing community has been exploring since that first trailer came out. You may have already seen some videos breaking this bit down, as have I, but if you're like me, you probably just want to see multiple different takes on every theory or topic just to get the full picture. Before we go any further though, I just want to say hello to anyone new to the channel, especially coming in from my last video. It kind of exploded compared to the rest of my stuff I have to offer, but hey, now I can literally say that only 1% of my viewers are subscribed to my channel. So if you want to change that sad reality, be sure to hop on the theory train before it leaves the station. Also, I'm not sure why a bunch of people went back to that video to tell me that it aged poorly, that I was wrong, etc. The point of that video wasn't to say that there wouldn't be a delay. Not at all. The focus was to say that the development had been going smoothly, rather than an unfortunate restart like Metroid Prime 4 saw after a long while of silence. I had been working on that video since the most recent Nintendo Direct, since it seemed like people were distressed about how little we've seen of it since the second trailer, and it just so happened to flow into a discussion about potential release dates. I did say I thought a 2022 release date was still likely, but that was only a side note. The game is clearly still doing fine development-wise, especially from what we've seen. Aonuma just said they wanted a little more time to make the game that much more special. These people all got it straight though. They're cool, and I'm glad that the majority of people are willing to thoughtfully discuss things instead of running straight to negativity. That's the kind of optimism I like to hear. Alright, now on to the new stuff. First off, let's take a look at how the Master Sword is involved in all of this. Right off the bat, it's apparent that it has been, mangled. We're definitely going to talk about how that became possible later. But hey, Link does in fact have the Master Sword still, whatever state it may be in. My biggest question here is if Link had the Master Sword ever since the original cavern scene, or if a lot has transpired in the meantime for him to retrieve it. Either way, the Master Sword glows with a familiar light, quite possibly from Fi alerting him to draw the Master Sword, and he does just that. He holds up the sword that seals the darkness before him, and the blade shines with a blue outline, forming almost a shell of how it used to look. Link's hand glows brightly as well, and the scene cuts off shortly afterward. After seeing the strange glowing sphere before Link, and the way he holds out the sword, I imagine the next step would be for that light orb to fuse into the Master Sword, much like the Sacred Flames in Skyward Sword, the Souls in Twilight Princess, or the Tears of Light in Spirit Tracks. This would make sense as a way to partially repair the Master Sword, since the original forging of the blade required great amounts of sacred energy. This shot also reminds me a lot of the scenes where Link gains a new champion ability, though that could be just because those were some of the few non-flashback cutscenes in the original game. Link's golden arm attachment thingy is glowing a lot here too, and that light is very similar to the orb in front of him. So this could be where the green hand unlocks a new ability like the time reversal power. There's also a strange symbol in the middle of his hand. I honestly don't know what it represents, but I think this could be how the hand's abilities are represented. A similar symbol actually shows up briefly in the sequel's gameplay trailer when Link reverses time on the spiky metal boulder, so it definitely seems as if they're related to the abilities. These symbols could also serve a broader purpose, such as representing the current state of Link's green arm, perhaps even being how the arm's spirit communicates with him, supposing it's still conscious of its surroundings. All of that, of course, remains to be seen. Now, where exactly Link is in this shot, I can't say for sure. It's almost certain that he is in the sky area of the game, but without knowing much about this area's layout, that doesn't tell us much. The surrounding area does look like it may be some kind of arena, maybe even a boss room, given the flat open space he's in. Supposing it is a boss room, the light orb is probably what remains after Link defeats whatever boss is in the room. It could also not be a boss room though. When the camera pans a little near the start, it looks like we may see the edge of the platform, so this could be a smaller island than it first seems. Overall, it's a tricky spot to pin down. There are also some weird characters, the letter kind, not the people kind, on the floor as well. I've seen some comparisons to the spiraling letters in the original trailer, and I can see the resemblance, but besides that one connection, we don't have much to work with there either. I am looking forward to learning more about these symbols, especially if they make up a whole language. My last observation here is just that this shot looks really nice in general. The wind effects and the lighting seem to be perfect for the art style these games have taken on. If the rest of the game captures the atmosphere of the sacred Sky Realm place this nicely, and if the surface world gets changed up as well, I think this will be a great game visually. Gameplay-wise, I think it's also a likelihood that it'll be phenomenal, especially with them taking their time with the sequel. The more they work on new game mechanics that add depth to the game as a whole, the better, in my opinion. And can I just say, the more we see of this game, the more it reminds me of Skyward Sword. I know it was kind of a joke going around with the skydiving and the Sky Islands, but now with remaking the Master Sword and holding it up to weird glowy orbs in important cutscenes, I'm more convinced than ever that the release of Skyward Sword HD was very deliberately timed. Okay, so that's some of the bare details we can get out of the trailer. Is there anything else we can sort of figure out based on this? As a matter of fact, there sure is. For one, we know that whatever power Ganondorf has amassed in his tomb room, he may be more dangerous than ever before. Even after the Great Calamity, the Master Sword got a bit crusty looking, but now it has been worn to nearly half its size. This is startling, especially if the Trial of the Sword DLC is considered canon in the sequel. That would mean a fully powered Master Sword, something so powerful as to destroy Demise, Ganondorf in his various forms, and many other great evils, has been worn to an unusable state in very little time. We've seen cases where the blade loses parts of its power in the past, like when it lost the power to seal evil in Wind Waker, but this is greater even than that. What exactly could be that much stronger, though? Ganondorf has had the Triforce of Power at his disposal before, and he never used that to do such a thing. Even the full Triforce he's had a couple of times, and then he didn't destroy the sword either. Well, I have a theory on why he could be so powerful in regards to Ganondorf's mummified state. Now, you may know the Sheikah monks all over Hyrule and Breath of the Wild. The way they are mummified is reminiscent of a real-world practice called, and forgive me if I mispronounce this, Sokushinbutsu, which is actually kind of gross to see. The interesting thing about that is, as some Buddhists have historically practiced, it's seen as a way to achieve Buddhahood, or at least a step along that path. And in case you didn't know, the Zelda series has a history of tying in some Buddhist history and ideas into the lore and dungeons, so it wouldn't be that out of place for this to go deeper than a surface level inspiration. Now, the Sheikah monks don't all seem exactly that powerful or enlightened when they turn to dust the minute you dispel their force fields, but most of them only remained in Hyrule for the purpose of telling you, Hylia approves of you, here's a chunk of my spirit to make you tougher, or something along those lines. One very notable exception to this rule, of course, is Monk Maz Koshia. This monk is not only able to move around freely after his mummification, but he provides a full-on boss battle trial for Link. In this battle, he duplicates, teleports, wields ancient weaponry, turns giant, hurls metal spiky balls, and chases bananas. This guy is far more dangerous than the majority of the threats Link faces in Breath of the Wild, and I would argue that his mummification may have been a key element to his success. After all, the majority of the regular Sheikah don't possess such powers, but this guy definitely does. So you take a regular Sheikah with cool powers, mummify him, and you get a super Sheikah who poses a tough challenge for even Link to tackle. But what do you get if you take the Gerudo King, who is already a warlock with intelligence, malice, and power enough to take over Hyrule time and again, and you mummify him? Because, whether he wanted to be mummified or not, that seems to be what happened to him. And while the natural conclusion would be that this mummification has weakened him, I'm not entirely sure that that's the case. He may have been forced into this mummification, as this briefly depicted scene suggests, but even if the force behind his imprisonment was well-meaning, they may have made a grave mistake. You saw that Master Sword, right? He outright broke the weapon that has kept him at bay throughout the ages. Anyway, if Ganondorf has achieved some kind of superhuman status through his Sokushinbutsu like Maz Koshia did, then this could be one of, if not the most powerful iteration of Ganondorf we've seen in the series. I'm very excited to see if that develops in the game, if he has truly reached a new power level. Another thing, the delay brought to mind something that I hadn't considered before. Ever since 2013, we've gotten a Zelda-related game each year, whether it be a full-fledged Legend of Zelda game, a remake, a port, or a spin-off. That's a lot of Zelda games, and if they plan to keep up that streak, well, they would have to put something out this year as well. It's entirely possible that they won't, as their planned 2022 title was previously the sequel to Breath of the Wild, but there's never been a better time to port some conveniently already remade games like Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. I mean, they might even have a project in the works like the Link's Awakening remake, which only had 7 months between announcement and release. If such a thing exists, though, they certainly haven't told us about it, so I wouldn't cross your fingers for the Minish Cap HD on Switch this year. To sum it all up, I don't mind the delay, we got a couple cool new details, and Ganondorf might have ascended to another level of existence. And I think that's about all I have to say for today. Did I just make a 10-minute video out of 5 seconds of footage? Yes, I did. As they say, any Zelda news is good news, even if it isn't the news you wanted to hear. Honestly, I try not to make too many Breath of the Wild 2 videos in a row, partly because there's lots of stuff I want to talk about in the rest of the series, and partly because I find it boring when that's all anyone talks about. Given the new announcement though, I definitely wanted to share some of my thoughts that have been building up lately. Now it's up to you guys to carry on the discussion in the comments. Just, if you want to tell me you disagree with anything here, remember, thoughtful discussion, not expiration date comparisons. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time you're in the Legend Zone.